Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Den on a glorious Sunday morning. You can probably see light streaming through the window. So bright you almost can't make out the Empire Strikes Back curtains that I have back there. I had to actually buy like an old school curtain rod with like the hooks and everything to get those things up there. It was quite a challenge. So anyways, but welcome to the show. You can only see one of my hands there. Show. What are we doing today? We're going to bag and board some comics. We're going to chat about some news of the past week. We're going to look at some new releases, some new campaigns. I'll talk about a few things that have shown up in the Den. And, there is Lady Wendelin. It's going. Oh, yeah, it's going. All right. Hey, I thought, it might be a good idea to bring in a younger crowd. I'd start all these off with a little rap. So, no. So anyways, yeah, we're going to we're going to, what we're going to do? We're going to waste an hour is what we're going to do because that's what Sundays are for, right? You kind of, maybe you go to church, family time. Try to relax. Try to enjoy yourself. Check that out. I have been getting into Action Comics weekly. I had a few of them when they first came out. And, of course, I forgot my tape. Genius move. Well, I said bagging and boarding, not bagging, boarding, and taping. So I had some of these. But a few of them just showed up recently in the 50 cent bin. And I was like, do I want to? There's a few particular like runs of Action Comics. I was like, I think I'll get Action Comics Weekly. Well, okay, it's 50 cent bin. They're 50 cents, right? What the heck? Man, they're really good. They're sort of that point where we were getting more grown up stuff out of DC. These would be maybe rated PG, maybe leaning towards PG-13, but like in this one here, you got the Martin Pasco and Rick Burchett doing Black Hawk. Essentially, it's Black Hawk as Steve Canyon. But they do a good job, and the art is just friggin' amazing. Really, 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 really good. You get Dead Man in this one from Mike Barron and Kelly Jones. You get Wild Dog Story, which is pretty good. The Superman stuff, and I didn't remember a lot of this. It's like a 2-page spread in the middle of the book. So it's almost like reading Sunday comics. And it's, God, who was writing them now? I think it was Roger Stern, but Kurt Swan doing the art. Really, really good stuff. So, yeah, I've been reading a bunch of those, and now I'm like, oh, crap. I got to go ahead and buy a bunch more if I can find them, so I can fill the run out. Because I remember it was one of these that I got. That was Black Canary burning her 80s costume back in the original sort of suit that was designed by Carmine Infantino. Really one of the best superhero get-ups that they ever created, without a doubt. I mean, it's the minimalist, simple design, the leather jacket, the fishnets, etc. Just really, really, really awesome. And it's cool that they went back to it. But I remember when that came out, that I'd only gotten into collecting comic books in like 85. And these are, well, the ones I'm reading are 87. They may have gone to Action Comics Weekly in 86, but So I'd started collecting. I had Justice League. There's Black Canary. She's in that 80s suit. I don't know. That was the only Black Canary I'd ever seen. And so I'm like, I don't know, 14, 15. And there she is in that get up. And it was like, I think she's my favorite character. You know, when you start collecting in junior high, it's a whole different thing. Let's chat about a little bit of news while we go here. So I saw an announcement. I don't know, like, all what's behind it exactly, but Kickstarter blocks Don Simpson's Megaton Man anthology. And obviously this was like a superhero parody from back in the day. God, I don't know, 80s, or did it go further back than that? I'm not sure, but I've never read it, but I'm definitely, it's one of those things that I was, you know, very aware of. And, but I guess it has to do with one of the people working on it is from Iran. And I'm like, is this like a thing, a boycott thing, that they're not allowed to do something that involves someone from Iran? I have no idea. But Kickstarter's kind of weird about a lot of that stuff. So I saw Luke Stone from Fund My Comic was like, they can come over here. Now, I guess Simpson is more on the left side of politics. Luke Stone would be more on, from an American perspective, the right side of politics. You know, but it's like the whole point of Fund My Comic is none of this cancel culture crap. You could do, as long as, you know, you don't break their terms of basic terms of service, you're good. And they've had people, like he even said, he goes, oh yeah, we've had some people do campaigns who friggin' hated our guts. I don't care. They can do their campaign, which is very cool and is really the way that it should be, just period. But so, yeah, if that's something you're kind of out there waiting for, maybe you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. I hope they do go on to Fund My Comic. You know, I'm a free market guy, you know, and I get it. It's fine if, you know, if you don't want to do business with somebody who you're like, they're the devil, you know, it's fine, but it's tough when it's everybody in lockstep going after people for stuff. And I'm really glad that's the new Secret Six, which I just read some of those from way back. That was an interesting little concept. It was like Mission Impossible, but a little darker. Anyways, yeah. So hopefully he'll manage to get that done, get his anthology out, because folks just want to read comic books, and wow, it shouldn't be this complicated. I guess it probably always was complicated, right? Even when you were doing small press type stuff. Oh, that was another thing that came up was Pete Samedi at Alterna Comics is like, what exactly would it cost to start printing books myself? Because I guess he worked for a printer way back when, so he understands the basics of all of it. So it's a matter of equipment, having the space, all that kind of stuff. And so I guess he's looking into it. And again, well, Fund My Comic again comes into it. He's like, could I maybe do a sort of a funding campaign on here to put the cash together for about a year's worth of operations to see if this will work? And yeah, Fund My Comics like, yeah, we actually have something kind of set up, kind of designed for that. So, you know, dive in. So maybe he'll do that. I don't know. I'm sure he's considering it. But that'd be cool. Printing options for people. Now, this is just Action Comics with John Byrne doing Green Lantern Corps and Superman. He drew a very fetching Arigia for sure. Yeah, because Action is what I've been getting a lot of. Oh, that didn't sound right, did it? Action Comics is what I've been getting a lot of lately. Again, because I'm a 50 cent bin guy. and I go to a place where there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, the fact is, the DC stuff is cheaper. The back issues are generally cheaper, with, you know, the exception of Key Comics and all that. They're easier to collect. They're easier to grab. They're easier to get, you know. Oh, yeah, darn. I had some comics that are sitting out there that I was going to show. I forgot about it. Because I grabbed a few books to sort of fill in runs this week from mycomicshop.com, which is a cool site. There's Superman with these aliens were going to make a Superman movie, and they were auditioning people for it. That's a weird story. A lot of them are weird, but yeah. So I got a couple issues of Dakota North to fill in that miniseries. It's only a 5-issue. Well, you know, I take that back. It wasn't. I don't think it was a miniseries. It was meant to be an ongoing series, but it only lasted 5 issues. So I liked it. It was when I found it in the 50-cent bin, and I'm like, this is cool. It's sad that it didn't last. Although it feels like it should have been more of a DC series than Marvel, honestly. But I thought it was cool, so I got those, and then I got Booster Gold number 8. That was the last issue I needed to finish that run. And then I got Justice League America 47, which was the last one I needed to fill in the run that I'm going to be covering this year on Justice League Mondays. So, Betty and Me, yeah, this is the one with the cover. I had to beat off 3 other guys. Yeah, okay. But the point is, it's some good old-fashioned Archie comics. This is a facsimile that they just put out. And I don't know, man. Like, I've been in the mood for a little bit of Archie comics lately. Just something that's not, something that's just like wholesome. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm going to talk about another thing I got recently from Archie. Yeah, sometimes it's like, okay, it's fine. A little more of the edgy stuff. I enjoy a lot of it, but I like the other side of things as well. The other thing, the Primevals. Now, this was released in 2023, but it's up on Tubi finally. And this was like a passion project that was like 30 years in development. It's like old school adventure. You got stop motion animation of the monsters in it, which I love. I'm a Harryhausen guy. So I've watched about the first half of the movie today. I finally had time to do it. So I'm not going to do like a big review of it, but it's like, it's you know what? It's what you would get in the 50s and 60s, a sort of monster adventure movie. Only this is from the 2020s. Although obviously with some of the filming, it was over 30 years. But you might want to check that out on Tubi. Tubi's a free service. You can set up an account, which gives you the ability to like put stuff on a list that you want to watch and all that stuff. So it knows who you are, which I do because I watch a massive amount of stuff on Tubi. Really. There's a lot of great old stuff on there. And they have a lot of like kind of weird, horror movies, kind of B movies, they're like slasher stuff and just stuff that people really dig. It's a great source for that. They have some new stuff on there too, which I'm not really all that into. There we go. There's Superman taking on Brainiac and Lex Luthor, plus Airwave and the Atom. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was where, so Brainiac gets into the Fortress of Solitude and like reprograms the defense systems to go after Superman. And there's a really good scene in this one too. And I think this is the one where Superman kind of turns the tables on him and reprograms Brainiac to be good, to go off and do good things in the universe. Now, I had read another book from years later where the programming sort of wore off and Brainiac came back and he was ready to kick some butt. Wanted to mention the passing of David Schleinkhofer. It happened about a week ago. He's a sci-fi artist, did a lot of, book covers and stuff like that. But he also did this image that all of us 80s geeks, kids who love the Transformers will recognize. It's one of the first, I think, depictions of the Transformers, like in this sort of style, different from how they were marketed or how those toys were marketed in Japan. So very cool. Sad to hear of his passing. But he definitely made his mark. And, it's funny because so much of this stuff, when we're kids, it's just there, right? Like, you don't think about the work that goes into this. Somebody had to create that art from scratch. That was a blank canvas or what have you, because we're talking about the 80s, so it wouldn't have been digital at that point. But it's a blank canvas, and somebody had to do all that, and somebody had to design all the toys, and the sculpts and what they're going to look like. It's kind of cool when you grow up and you there's the nostalgia factor, but then you also start looking at this stuff and just like going, man, like, this is some incredible stuff. The work that went into all this stuff, the creativity, I appreciate it all the more now that I'm kind of collecting things and all that stuff. But yeah, so sad to hear that he passed. He did some great stuff, and I don't know, you might want to go, do a search on Google. You can maybe see some more samples of his work. Kind of celebrate the guy a little bit because he deserved it. The other kind of news, besides all the controversial crap, there's so much geek stuff now. I don't even want to talk about because I get so tired of some of the nonsense. But yeah, Superman and Persis Kambata. I'm telling you, no, that's actually Lex Luthor's wife. Kind of an interesting issue. Actually, a really good issue. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. If you want to go out and get this one, but Lex Luthor does some really dark stuff in this comic, and kind of gets hoist on his own petard. It was a good one. It was a good twist ending, and not all of that era of action are great stories. Superman's always hard to write for. Man, they did a good one with that. Other thing I wanted to bring up was we're starting to see the impact from the tariffs, or at least talk of the tariffs on the toy market. I got a notice from Entertainment Earth about they're going to maybe be increasing prices on some of the pre-orders that people have, and letting people know, if you want to cancel the order, fine. No kind of weird penalties or difficulties there. They understand, but they're going to try to eat some of this, but they can't eat all of it, etc. Okay. So then I get a second email, maybe 2 or 3 days later. Sure enough, one of the pre-orders I have, well, actually, I think it's the only pre-order I have there at the moment, and I don't even remember what it is now, but price is going up from $19.99 to $20.99, so an extra $1. So hopefully the impact won't be that much worse for a lot of things. I suppose if it was a much more expensive pre-order, percentage-wise, it could be a bigger increase, but so far not too bad. And I did see Super 7 is putting an 8% surcharge on items that they're selling now. And I think Big Bad Toy Store is doing a surcharge, but they're not telling you like in advance what it is. So it might depend, because some of these things might be sourced from places other than China, which is the big, bone of contention. So we'll see where that all leads. Here we have Action Comics. He's throwing a building into space for their own good. That's what you get when you mess around with the Man of Steel. That was kind of a weird one. Well, I won't say what it was. I don't want to spoil. Why am I worried about spoiling Action Comic stories from the freaking 80s? I don't know. I just am. It's just how I roll. Let's talk about some new releases. So McFarlane Toys has been doing Batman the Animated Series figures. I got to admit, I love the animation designs of that sort of, a Batman animated series, but also when they kind of revamped them and made them even a little bit more stylized. I really dig them on the screen. Have to admit, most of the figures, when you look at these things translated into 3 dimensions, to me, they look a little bit goofy. And I don't think, I was kind of, I was maybe in high school when this came out. High school or maybe college. So it didn't have like that heavy nostalgic impact on me that it would have had if I was like 10 years old when it came out. So I'm looking at those figures and I'm like, they're kind of goofy looking. I'm not really into them. But I did want to bring this one up. This is the Phantasm from Mask of the Phantasm, I believe was the name of it. Which I have a VHS copy that we found when we were cleaning out my dad's old house that I clearly brought to the house. And it was a screener copy from the old video park that I worked at. They would send out free copies to video stores. And it would usually kind of start with sort of an advertisement thing, coming from MCA Home Video, blah, 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 and it's that kind of thing. It was an advertisement. And then you'd have the movie, and then you would have like words across the bottom. This is a screener copy. Do not rent, blah, 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 blah. So I kind of threw this thing in, and as soon as I saw the ads, I was like, is this a screener? Oh, okay. And I looked, yeah. So it's kind of fun because it's like, memories from being at the video store. But also, great flick. Went and saw it with my wife in the theater, although I don't believe she was my wife yet at that point. In fact, I'm positive she wasn't my wife yet. So I got a real soft spot for Mask of the Phantasm. So I just wanted to show that one off. I thought it was pretty cool. And actually, I thought it looked pretty darn good, despite the sort of very stylized aspect of it. The Revenge of Alice Cooper album coming out. Dude, it's Alice Cooper. Come on. If you're like a monster kid, if you ever watch The Muppet Show in your life, you have a love for this guy and his music. You just do. He kind of like transcends certain barriers as far as like heavy metal or rock or whatever goes. But so I wanted to throw that out there. I don't know when that's coming out. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I know, huh? We're old. We just have to face it. On the bright side, though, we're old and we're cool, so it's okay. So Revenge of Alice Cooper, Spectrum Patrol Car, and Spectrum Pursuit Vehicle from Captain Scarlet. If you've never watched Captain Scarlet, it's one of the Jerry Anderson shows. So Thunderbirds, it might be like the next biggest thing, Marionation, that they did next to the Thunderbirds. In all honesty, it's really cool. So these are pre-orders. The patrol car is arriving October 2025. $94, and you kind of have to buy this one, I think, from the UK. So you're going to have some shipping in there that might be kind of spicy. But very cool. If you've never watched Captain Scarlet, dude, you got to go watch this thing. It's absolutely nuts. It's fun. It's a great marionation. I really enjoyed it. Irene Strakowski, usually known by her Twitter handle of Reenie Draws, has the next chapter of her Fiendish comic coming out. It's up for signups right now on Indiegogo to alert you when the campaign starts. So this is chapter 3. This is one of those ones that I've kind of slept on. I was really interested in it, but I was like, but I've already backed this. I've already backed that. So I'm going to maybe try to jump on board on this one, at least with chapter 3, and maybe I'll try to get the older ones at some point along the line. Her art is fantastic. I mean, absolutely beautiful. She was on an episode, a stream of the Greybeards sometime back. What were they drawing? I can't remember what, so the Greybeards, Aaron Lopresti's show, he's got, David Williams on it. Sometimes Kelsey Shannon would be on there. And they would have a subject, a DC comic character or something. And then everybody picks something and draws, and they draw and they chat for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, etc. So she's on one of those. Obviously she does not have a gray beard, although she wore a fake one for the show. And I mean, I was just blown away. And she ended up doing 2 pieces on the show, which is a little bit quicker. Gorgeous stuff. So I'm I'm going to get me a Fiendish. I got it. I want to really check it out. It's like a fantasy story. So you might want to look for that. Yaira number 3 up for pre-order at Ripaverse. I jumped in on this one. And that I think is a Rennie cover. She did a cover for that, and I think another cover as well. Oh, I think she might have done a cover for Mighty Golden Patriot. We'll talk about that in a minute. Actually, I'll talk about that right now because I forgot to grab an image, but that's from Yellow Flash. It's kind of like Super Sentai in World War II. So I was kind of well, I don't know, maybe. I saw some of the interior art. I'm that looks pretty cool. I'll give it a shot. What the heck? I think I got cover A on that one. There we go. Superman. What is he doing on this one? Oh, yeah. He's Death Duel. Began on another world with this character. It's a long, drawn out, what? Who? What are you talking about? That's actually my last comic to Bag and Board. That's all I had time to read this week. So Yaira number 3 up for pre-order. That's really cool. They're really getting to roll on this stuff. Super 7, their new Sesame Street line. I had to call out 2 of these. Because, Super 7 always does some kind of deep cuts, and they'll do the stuff that you would expect. And I grew up when I was little, I was a freaking Sesame Street fiend. And so I got to be honest, this line was always a little tempting to me. I didn't jump in on anything. Super Grover was a tough one to resist. But here we got Roosevelt Franklin. You just gotta love the friggin' name. So Roosevelt Franklin, and the other one is the Alligator King with his 7th son. So this is from one of the animated song segments on the old Sesame Street. Old Sesame Street from the 70s is really something amazing. I mean, we've been watching clips sometimes in the morning before I'm running off to work. And, you got Jim Henson, you got Frank Oz. It holds up amazingly well. I'll be honest with you. The comedy with some of this stuff, to me, actually holds up better than some of the 70s Saturday Night Live. I know, you're not ever supposed to question the glory of 70s Saturday Night Live. If you ever watch some of the full-length episodes from the 70s, Belushi, etc. I mean, I'll be honest with you, you'll have 2 or 3 sketches that are kind of funny. They always go long because these guys were coked up out of their friggin' minds and literally trying to make their sketches as long as possible to screw somebody else out of time. So we got the friggin' sandwich shop sketch. Well, let's add 30 seconds. I want 30 more seconds. I need 30 more seconds. Why? So you can say, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger. So watch the full ones and you go, there's some good stuff. And God, there's some padding. And some of these sketches are they're death. They're not that awesome. But you never lose with Kermit and Cookie Monster. And I will fight you if you disagree with me. I will fight you. It's fine. If you don't like fun and happiness and Muppets, I can't do anything for you. Yeah, so I thought those were cool. And I'm like going, I don't think I'm going to spend $20, but you're going, but it's like, how obscure the Alligator King. I mean, like, when is that going to come along another time in my lifetime? It's just not going to happen. It's tempting. This is one I meant to talk about, like a couple streams ago, and I managed to forget. It's a Kickstarter, Teen Force 5. The Kickstarter's ongoing. You can get it for $5 digital, $12 print, and obviously there's other tiers you could get into. But it's your old school superhero stuff, kind of obviously in the vein of like Teen Titans. Art looks pretty good. I thought it looked kind of cool. So I might jump in on that one. I mean, $12 that's not bad, at least to give it a try, see if it's any good. So The Old Dark House. I've really loved this movie. It's coming to 4K and Blu-ray July 2025. And it's going to cost you £20.82. And yeah, that's all I could find it on the links was Amazon UK. So I'm going, is it getting released in the US? I don't know, but I hope it does. It's a great looking cover for one thing. You got Boris Karloff on there. It's a really weird movie. It's kind of creepy. You got Melvin Douglas is in it. Charles Laughton is in it. It's just kind of loony. And it feels very sort of like a comedy. And then it gets a little dramatic. And then it gets really kind of like scary. It's a weird jumble. I think it worked. I know some people are not that into it, but I had to call it out because this is what I do. I call out stuff that I dig or think looks cool, which brings us to Popeye, Legend of the Iron Arm from Foxblade. This is coming soon on Kickstarter, so it's not an active campaign just yet. A retelling of Popeye's Thimble Theater debut. Now, I think these are the same folks who did Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter, which I will be honest, I have no interest in that at all. I really don't like children's characters being twisted into something adult. So I don't know about Popeye yet, but I love Popeye. And if it's a pretty honest retelling of those original strips, which I'm sure it'll be a little bit more adult and a little more rugged. I know. But that's okay. That didn't bother me, right? I might want to check it out. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do with it. But it's characters coming into the public domain. And can these folks do something better with them than the IP holders have done? That's the big question with Superman. When he starts coming into the public domain, and as people will say, well, it's only the first, year. Okay, it's the first year, but then before, in 5 years, it's the first 5 years. And in a decade, it's the first decade of Superman. And by the time you hit the first decade of Superman, you got an awful lot of the Superman mythos that are public domain now. And it'd be awesome to see some people do some stuff with Superman, with Batman, with Popeye. with a variety of characters that's just better than what the IP owner, trademark owner, whatever they have. Because they're kind of falling flat on a lot of this stuff. Looney Tunes Collector Vault Volume 1, DVD and Blu-ray, June 17th. Always nice to get some Looney Tunes on DVD that you could just sit and watch when you need a break. Now, they do play a lot of Looney Tunes on MeTV in the mornings and on MeTV Tunes. Those are over-the-air channels. So if you set your TV up for over-the-air, and I think they're also on cable, might want to check them out. There's a lot of good stuff, actually, on MeTV Tunes. I woke up 2 or 3 days ago, 4 a.m, with a migraine. I get migraines like in the middle of the night. So who knows how? I don't know. Maybe my wife's mad at me and she comes out with a flashlight and flashes it in my eyes so I can, But, so I tried to get back to sleep and I couldn't. So I ended up getting up kind of early. I go out, make some coffee, turn on the TV, and it happened to, I think, be on MeTV Tunes. And it was the old Plastic Man cartoon from the 80s. Maybe actually 79 to 82, I think it might have run. And it was like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while. And I'm like, dude, this is friggin' wild. So now I'm working on a Plastic Man review for the channel. So there's a lot of good stuff on MeTV Tunes if you've never checked it out. And again, you buy like a $5 little converter device that'll pick up the signals for the new, digital airwave signals on your TV, and you got a pretty good amount of channels for free, basically. But here we go. And they have released the titles that are going to be on this. I saw them on Twitter. You could probably find them out there. I'm not going to list off like 50 cartoons, but pretty cool. I just saw this like today, or maybe it was last night. Series 3 Shogun figures, collect them all. So I'm going, okay, wait a minute. Is this like one of the big? Because I've always wanted one of those big Godzillas, and it's kind of hard to find them in good shape. I mean, you can find them, but they're not cheap. Now, what they've produced in that big size is also not cheap and maybe even more expensive, but something I definitely would have some interest in. And this just popped up today, like about an hour ago. Light and Dark, The Art of Lee Elias. And there was a link, but the link didn't work. So it's maybe something to be on the lookout for if you're into that EC horror vibe and stuff. That character got a Super 7 figure here just recently. My wife and I were at the comic shop like a week ago. And in fact, it was a week ago. It was last Sunday. And we found it. So very cool, though. Cool art. But again, the link didn't work. So I'm like, well, was it announced before it should have been announced? Is there something wrong? I'll keep my eye on it. Maybe mention it in a future stream if we find out more about what's going on with it. All right, let's talk about some new items that have shown up in the den. I say shown up like they just, somebody just sent them to me, like I didn't order the things. So up first, if I can grab this thing. Come on, baby. There we go. Up first. Okay, no, it's not the figure. I got the figure a while ago. And he's not in good shape, honestly. I'm kind of in the market for one, but I ordered a mask. So I finally got a mask on my Lone Ranger. You know the old song, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask of the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. So finally I got a mask for that guy. I was going to maybe just make one, like get some felt or something, and because I figured, hey, close enough. But one of the actual real masks came up on eBay at a nice low price. So I snagged that. So I was happy with that. I still need his 6-shooters. There's a lot of accessories, but that's a figure I had when I was a kid. that I don't know if it was something my parents got me that was new or was a hand-me-down. I got him. I got Silver. Now, Silver is in my garage. He had gotten broken a bit. I'm putting him back together. I need to put a foot on him still. And then I'll have Silver to go with this guy. But it was just one of those things from childhood that I wanted to get back. I lost the figure somewhere along the way. So now I'm putting my Lone Ranger back together again. I don't know if I'd get a Tonto if I could get him at a good price. Because I love those old things. God, that's why I went and saw that freaking abysmal Lone Ranger movie they did with Johnny Depp was in. Because I'm just like, I want to see a good Lone Ranger movie. I want the Lone Ranger. I don't know what the hell I got. I was not happy. I'll put it that way. ROM, Space Knight, Marvel Legends, has arrived. You see the little facsimile comic book. Let's see if we can get that nice and close without blurring the hell out of it. There we go. So, man, this was an immediate order for me. Love ROM. Always wanted one of those toys. Maybe I'll get one someday. Especially if I can get it in working order. That would be cool. What else did they come out with this one? Marvel's Banshee, Ultimate Iron Man, no interest in that. Adam Warlock, Ultimate Miles Morales, no interest in that. Daken Wolverine from like Dark Avengers. I don't even know what the hell that is, to be honest with you. But ROM was a definite. I'm going to do a full video review. We're going to take it out of the packaging and give it the once over. So look forward to that on my channel. I don't know when that will happen. I gotta plan it out. Is it this next week? I have that Mork from Orc figure. I did a review and I still haven't posted it because I keep getting new stuff and I've been pushing it back. And I'm kind of going, I don't know if there's a hurry to get the review out for ROM. So maybe instead of pushing Mork back again, we'll see. Okay, so last Sunday, my wife and I went to Barnes & Noble because I've been hearing about the magazine section and some of the stuff in it. So Shudder, which used to have a different name, if memory serves, and they had to change it to avoid a lawsuit, it's in the style of the old horror mags, black and white art. Okay, I'm looking like I'm not showing anything horrible that's going to get me in trouble. So black and white art. It's an anthology. Great covers. We got a Frazetta cover on this one. It's cool. Let's see, what do we got? We got Dear Aunt Shudder, The Eyes Have It, Join the Club, The Sniper, Fight in Fantasy, Aces and Aliens, Shulkin the Painter. There's our contents on this one. So I got one of these a while back and I liked it, but the thing was, it's like it's not cheap because magazines aren't cheap anymore. And then with shipping, it really kind of sucked. Like, it was a pretty big buy-in for it. So I hadn't gotten another one, but I heard, they got these at Barnes & Noble. I'm like, well, then I can avoid the shipping charges. So there we go. Also, Vampirus Carmilla, and this is an annual. Here's like a picture of all the covers. Very cool stuff. Oh, yeah, that one almost looked dirty for just a moment. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. So here's the table of the contents and a picture of the Vampirus. Yeah, so fun stuff. I like these. I like the old horror mags. I like the black and white art. So those were definites for me, and I'm glad I found them there. I'll maybe go back every month or so and just check. Then I also grabbed Archie Jumbo Comics. I used to get these digests when I was a kid. Like high school, because I was getting into comic book art, and these things will reprint stuff from like the whole length and breadth of Archie comics. Like here you got one, and I showed an image from this off on Twitter. But here you go. Oh, probably like the 60s. Yeah, probably not. Probably early 60s on that one. Harry Lucy doing the pencils. It's amazing stuff. Like there's this shot where, yeah, Archie like runs past Mr. Lodge and you see him like flying. But that is just solid cartooning, right? So I was into the art. So I used to buy these, and they're also kind of fun to read. And I'd forgotten, like, these things are absolutely packed. These are an amazing value, man. If you got kids and you want to get them into comics, and Archie, they're wholesome. I mean, even when they're doing stuff that's more modern, and I know there are some weird Archie comics out nowadays, but it's not this. Great for kids. Give them some reading material. It'll last you a while. And what was this one like? $10. $10. And it was probably like $1.99 or something when I used to buy them, but it's a ton of material. I mean, you see, I got a little bookmark in here. This has been my like patio reading lately, and I'm still not done with it. You know, I'll sit out with the dog for a little while and play with him, read a little bit, listen to some music. So, yeah, so those showed up this week. Good stuff. Go check out your Barnes & Noble. They got a massive magazine section. I didn't even know that many magazines were being printed anymore, honestly. I was kind of surprised. Let's do some reviews to sort of wrap things up for this live stream. Nobody in the chat today. I don't know. We might not have any viewers my lovely wife, of course. It's not nobody, but yeah, if you are out there, drop a line in the chat. It's always welcome. So a couple older movies that I watched over the last week. I finished this one last night. I Love a Mystery. It's a decent little flick, little mystery film, but the cool thing is it is a movie version of a radio show. So we think about that now. TV show making the leap to movies doesn't happen all that often unless it's sort of like 20 years later and look, they're going to do Bewitched on a movie, except we're going to get rid of Larry Tate and everything cool about Bewitched in the process. But they did do it a lot with B movies and radio shows back in the 40s. There were like 2 or 3 great Gildersleeve movies. There were 2 or 3 Fibber McGee and Molly movies. Of course, Jack Benny did some movies that they weren't really like based on his show. So I Love a Mystery is a radio show. If you've never listened to old time radio, you should really check it out. At a minimum, if you're into sci-fi, there's some great sci-fi anthology series that are they're doing a dramatization of stuff from some of the great authors from back in the day in the pulps. You know, these shows will come from the 30s, 40s, 50s. They go into the 60s. I mean, Gunsmoke was on the radio while it was on TV. It was William Conrad playing Marshall Dillon. Floyd the Barber was Doc. I remember that. Have Gun Will Travel had a radio version as well with John Daner playing Paladin. So a little bit different from the TV version, just in delivery, but probably the same stories. So radio, it lasted a pretty long time, but there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of it actually still holds up. The Jack Benny shows are still funny. Burns and Allen is still pretty darn good. There's a great one. It's a parody of game shows called It Pays to Be Stupid. That is friggin' hilarious. And it's a lot of puns and corny jokes, but it's still funny. You have this it's kind of like the SNL Jeopardy sketches, except, a little different, but you got this panel of morons answering things wrong and driving the host up a wall. What was the other one that I was thinking of that made it into movies? It's not coming to me now, but at any rate, there's some really funny stuff, some good sci-fi, a lot of good horror stuff, Inner Sanctum, and just, Lights Out. Listen to Lights Out. Those are great. They actually made a TV version of that one too, but it wasn't nearly as good. Lights Out was always just like one guy telling the story. Very, very creepy. The Thing on the Forble board is one of them that was people really dig. So I Love a Mystery was a radio show that I did listen to back in the day, because I do a lot of data entry in my normal job, and it's good to have something to entertain the right brain while the left brain is working. So I Love a Mystery. There were, in the old days, there were three guys who were sort of partners in this kind of detective agency who'd get involved in these crimes. Now, one of those actors, sadly, took his own life. And the producer of the show did not have it in his heart to recast him. So then it became a duo. And then the woman who's sort of the receptionist becomes a little more important in the stories. So this is with the duo doing it. One of the guys also played the role of, God, what was his first name? His last name was Romero, but it was on the early Dragnets, by the way. Early Dragnet radio shows. Excellent. Especially if you like the really older TV shows, black and white, where it was a little grittier. Radio shows are in that same vein. So yeah, it was kind of cool getting to actually see these radio actors on screen, see what they actually looked like. And I liked it. It was kind of a goofy little mystery, but it wasn't bad. And then yesterday I did a rewatch of Modesty Blaze. 1966. Wow, such a weird little movie. I suggest it. It's thumbs up for me. There's so many great moments in it. In just like the look, the art direction. Is it Monica Vitti? Monica Vitti, right? Yeah, playing Modesty Blaze. Terrence Stamp plays her sort of sidekick, General Zod, if you will. And he's pretty rad in it too. He's like a knife thrower. So lots of murder mayhem. It's weird. It's a little, not surreal. It's not exactly the right word, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was like, I got to rewatch that because I might do a review, and I'm definitely going to do a review on the channel of Modesty Blaze, and obviously based on a comic strip, which sadly I have not read. Although at this point I have so many comic strips that I need to read that I need to kind of cool it. Last review for the show. Looks like we're at the 52-minute mark, so we're doing pretty good here. What am I doing? I'm turning off the slide there. Let's hold this up. See if I hold it up in front of the light. See how it changes the lighting? Because the camera adjusts. Okay, anyways, let's stop with that. Aristocratic Extraterrestrial Time Traveling Thieves Complete Collection. I think I talked about this in one of my really early videos where I'd kind of do like my haul of stuff that I'd get in April or May or whatever. It was like my first few videos. I'd do those. I finally finished reading it. This was my patio reading for a while. Man, I had a lot of fun with this book. I got to tell you, this is 80s indie comics. It's sort of, it's the word I'm looking for. It's funny. It's a lot of geek humor. And this is when geek humor had not gone mainstream, so everybody didn't get references to the Spanish Inquisition or, all the Monty Python stuff. So it's got some parody in it. There's this one where they're dealing with a guy who's like George Jetson. God, I wonder if I could find that, if I could flip through. But that was kind of funny. Is that it? Yeah. If I could get this close enough. Panel. There it is. That's the panel. You can maybe make it out a little bit. He's got like the 5 o'clock shadow going, and he's kind of a creep. So there's lots of references, lots of satire. Just a fun book, and it's part of geek culture, right? Okay, there's all this faux geek culture that's gone sort of mainstream. That's fine. I mean, I want people to enjoy things, and I'm not one of those people who go, oh, you're a tourist. Nah, like whatever the hell you like, and don't worry about somebody getting his nose out of joint because you're not into the thing as much as you should be, and you don't know all the, okay. But that being said, you know, it was kind of cool when geeks had sort of passwords. So you could kind of tell the people that really were into the stuff that you were into and didn't just happen to watch a movie, you know, that has the Hulk in it or something, right? They were, you know, the true fans. Because let's be honest, we were all almost role-playing game kids, comic book kids, into sci-fi, etc. We were all kind of outsiders. You know, we either hid the stuff we liked, or if we were more open with it, we'd kind of get made fun of. So, I mean, there was that feeling like we're a community of people on the outside, and we want to hook up with each other and share interests. And so you had these little things that you make some reference and somebody got that, and you'd be like, oh, you're one of us. You're one of us. And that's what this reminded me of a lot. It's like, this is like deeper geek culture. That stuff that only we were into. So you might want to check it out. It's from, was it Critical Blast? That did the, sorry, I got to go glasses off so I can actually read this. Yeah, Critical Blast Publishing, copyright 2024. You can find it on their site. They got a lot of great stuff on Critical Blast. A few other things that I was definitely interested in. But I was just kind of scrolling through. It was a link from something else. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, maybe, I don't know. And then I'm like, X Thieves? No way. I had a really good friend who had a bunch of these, and he gave them to me at some point, and some point along the way, I got rid of them. And I'm kicking myself. And I'd be like, oh, look on eBay. Oh, man, the issues are a little bit expensive. You know, some of the back issues, because obviously it wasn't something that got, you know, the print runs that, like, you know, Avengers did back in the day. And so that was like, oh my God, I can get the full run. So awesome. And it's, you know, it's a pretty good reproduction of the old art. It's a little pixelated. You can kind of tell these are from scans. That's my dog scratching on the door, letting me know, Dad, your stream has gone on too long. It's time to pack it up. Okay. And he's not actually wrong. But anyways, you might want to go Critical Blast. Check that out. Fun comic book. If you're into, you know, geek humor and all the geek nerd references from back in the day. And it's very 80s. There's one where they have a crossover with the Southern Knights, which was another kind of indie comic book at the time, being produced by the same people, or at least the same, you know, publisher. So yeah, it's just like, it's a real slice of the past. All right. Well, it's a very vacant chat today. We had some good stuff going on last time, not as much this time. That's groovy though. People are busy. I get it. I'm just trying to throw a few things out there that I enjoy and maybe you'll enjoy as well. And so since the dog is pretty insistent that I get my butt out of here, I will acquiesce. And end with, wait, one other little thing. This week in Dad's Den coming up tomorrow, Justice League International number 17. They're in Vialia and they're running into some pretty nasty stuff. On Wednesday, a review of Rock and Rule, one of my favorite pieces of animation. It's kind of become a cult classic. Did terrible when it was first released because they didn't know what to do with it. And on Friday, I'm going to be doing a review of Gladiator. Very cool book from the 30s. That probably inspired the hell out of Superman. Maybe one of the best superhero stories you will ever read. Now, it's not a comic book. It is actually just a book. But when you talk about the deconstruction of the superhero, well, I got news for you. Philip Wiley deconstructed the superhero before there ever was a superhero. He kind of covered that ground, and I think he covered it better than most people have since. So one of those you might want to read. There is a pretty good audio version you can find on YouTube or on LibriVox not too bad. But anyway, I'm going to do a review on that one on Friday, and then next Sunday, another live stream. So God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Hopefully I will see you again soon in Dad's Den of Pop